live. We're
glitch.
live. We're
Hold
live.
on. I'm going to come back. Wrong camera. Okay. Yeah, you hear me?
Got you.
Okay.
I got you.
We're live. Sorry for the slight delay. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Bronx Pinstripes Show. It's been a little while. Today, we're brought to you by Game Time, my personal favorite way to buy MLB tickets. Game Time app gives the advantage back to the fans. It's a hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. Of course, they have baseball games, but also pro and college football season is here. NBA is around the corner, plus concerts, comedy tickets, much more as well on the app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Bronx for $20 off your first purchase. I'll tell you more about them in a little bit. Scott, in 3 weeks, I think since we recorded, although we missed 2 weeks, if that makes sense. How you doing?
Good, man. Yeah, missed 2 weeks. We had some vacations and some work travel, so didn't work out. There. It's interesting because, I feel like whenever there's a hiatus, some interesting things happen. The Yankees got their asses kicked by the Red Sox. And then they went and bullied on teams that are no good. So you're looking at this team right now that has a sub 500 record against teams that are over 500, beating up on bad teams, and you're just wondering at this point now, like, what am I looking at? What am I looking at? What is the real thing that's happening in front of me? Now, there's a lot of, like, I think, interesting storylines that are happening with this team currently and over the last 3 weeks that have shined even more. Cam Schlitler being one of them, I think, is just like a beacon of hope for everything we're watching. But there's also a lot of, I'm seeing it all over social, is like, what do I believe? How am I supposed to anticipate what this team is going to do? But I think we're going to find out sooner than later.
Yeah. Listen, I don't know how anyone can take this team seriously until they start playing better against good competition. Because you said they have a below 500 record. I don't even think that tells the full story. They're about to play in the next 12 games. I think this is the key stretch here entering October. If they don't play well in these 4 series coming up against Houston, Toronto, Detroit, and Boston, you cannot take them seriously going into October. Because so far on the season against those 4 teams, which I think are the best teams in the American League, are they dominant, perfect teams? Of course not, because you've even seen Toronto and Boston start to struggle recently, allowing the Yankees to get back into the division race. But the Yankees against those teams have played like absolute garbage. It doesn't even matter if those teams are flawed because the Yankees can't get out of their own way. They are 7-19 combined against those teams. That is a .269 win percentage. For a full season, that's a 44 and 118 record. It's like 118 loss pace against not dominant teams, not like historically good teams. This is not the late 1990s Yankees they're going up against, or like peak Astros or peak Giants mini dynasty. These are just kind of good teams in the American League, and they're playing .269 ball against them. And it's not just that they're losing. In that series against the Red Sox, that was a week and a half ago, they were made error after error, base running mistake after base running mistake. They're balking guys in. It is a clown show. And again, until they can play well against these teams, I think nobody can take them seriously.
I mean, we're at a point now where we've seen too much. We know what this team is. We know what when you reveal the mask, we know what this team has been over a stretch against good teams. And that's the thing. Like, the Yankees have, ending the season, one of the softest schedules that I have seen in quite some time. Now, granted, they have to start September off kind of running the gauntlet with Houston, Toronto, Detroit, Boston. But then they have Minnesota for 3, Baltimore, who's been terrible this year, for 4, the White Sox again for 3, and then Baltimore again for 3. Now, looking at this schedule going into the season, you're like, oh man, we have to play Baltimore twice in September. I think everybody thought that Baltimore was going to take another step forward this year with their young with their young talent, but that's just not the case. So the Yankees, basically their season lies in these next 2 weeks. I mean, that is exactly
100%.
that is exactly right. And yes, the division is back within range as far as numbers go. But you're really focused on making sure that the wild card is secured at this point and keeping your head above water. But again, you go into the playoffs. If you sneak into the playoffs with the back end of this September, after struggling in the front end, like, what are we really doing?
Exactly. Like they will mop the floor with Minnesota, Chicago, Baltimore, and I forget there was one other team you mentioned to end the season.
There's
They're going to mop
Baltimore.
they're going to mop the floor with those teams. But if they don't play well in these next 12 games, I don't care. You're not going to feel good going into October because they're not going to play Chicago White Sox in October, right? So I was laughing because I have this calendar. You remember we got this calendar?
Yeah.
When we went to the game. Only game I've been to. I want to back up. Unfortunately, who's on the September covers? Who's on the September cover, Scott?
It's hard for me to see. Is that Devin Williams?
That is one Devin Williams.
Yeah. Well, he's been great lately. So, when you rediscover that you have a fastball and you know that his fastball actually looks better than I was expecting. It's 96.
He's afraid to throw it.
He's been able to locate it. He's not lately. He's been throwing. I know he had a glitch the other night, but for the most part, he's been much better. And I think it's because he's actually throwing that fastball a lot.
Leave him in the 6th inning. Leave him in the 7th inning.
Yeah. Hey, exactly.
No pressure spots.
It's fine. If you can get a quality inning out of him at this point in the 7th inning, then that's a win. Like you need that 7th inning. So you still need to stack yourself to get to the 9th inning. And if he's doing well in the 7th inning, then great. Awesome. We have him for a year in the 7th inning, and then we'll figure it out again. Meanwhile, Aroldis Chapman, I think he just signed an extension with the Red Sox to stay out another year because he's having a complete resurgence.
It's amazing. Like I thought he was done when he left the Yankees.
He couldn't throw. He couldn't locate his pitches, and now you see him, and he looks like vintage Chapman, for God's sakes. I mean, the guy looks really good. Huge credit to that guy, man. He's in unbelievable shape. He looks like an Adonis. He always has, but he still does. What is he? Late 30s? Pushing late 30s?
Who knows?
And he's still throwing 100 miles per hour. It's crazy.
Well, that's the thing. When he left the Yankees, his velocity was down from the 103, 104 that he would touch earlier in his career with Cincinnati and then with the Yankees. And then we were kind of like, well, it's kind of just going to probably keep diminishing from here. And 100 is going to become 98, and 98 is going to become 96. And then literally everybody, you just mentioned Devin Williams throws 96. So everybody, Tom, Dick, and Harry throws 96 out of the bullpen now.
Yeah.
But he's sort of maintained around that 100 mark and has been able to locate better. Yeah. And of course, it's with the Red Sox.
Yeah.
But what do you think it is? If you could put your finger on one or two things, why has this team played such horrendous baseball against the good competition? And then why are they able to just mash on these lower competition?
I don't think the answer is that difficult to look at. I think if you're giving any kind of nuance to this answer, you're overthinking it. I think that they're not a great team. They can mash bad pitching. They come up against some good pitching in pressure situations. They have a hard time hitting home runs. Therefore, they have a hard time scoring. Their pitching has been, I don't even know what the pitching staff is. Obviously, we talked about Schlitler being, a rising star right now, and we'll talk about him in a little bit for sure.
I actually saw a question. Sorry to interrupt you. I saw a question posed. I forget where it was. I think I might have seen it on Instagram. Will the Yankees put Cam Schlitler in their playoff rotation?
Yeah, he might anchor the rotation.
Better damn well at this point. Like, are you kidding me? Who are you gonna try Will Warren over him? Like, come on.
Yeah, but Sean Fitzpatrick in our comments here mentioned a couple of things. Errors in bullpen. Yes, the defense has been egregious, and it's showing its head in big situations against good teams. And you can't play sloppy baseball against good teams. We've seen that time and time again. We saw it. That's the reason the Yankees left the World Series last year and got their butts kicked by the Dodgers. So eventually, when you play good teams, you play sound baseball. They're going to take advantages of the sloppiness that the Yankees play. And again, during the playoffs, they're going to have to figure out how to string hits. Like, home runs are great. And you need to hit home runs in the playoffs, but you also need to be able to, get runs across and execute in situations that are needed in tight games. And we just haven't seen the Yankees do that. I mean, it could go back the other night, like Vulpi bunts, which I was like, okay, great. Apparently, he put it on himself. He bunted, got the runner over. And then we just have dumb mistakes with like guys running on contact. We have Austin Wells running on contact with the infield in. This is such basic 101 baseball when you're looking like the infield is in. If the ball is hit to an infielder, first of all, why is Austin Wells running on contact? It doesn't matter. If the infield is in, you're dead. He wasn't even in the shot, the camera shot.
When the infield's in,
the catcher had the ball.
Just wait to see if the ball goes through the infield, and then you score.
It's not that difficult.
It's like, okay, well, is that coaching? Because the coaches aren't telling him,
I think that's coaching. I think that is coaching.
It is coaching, but at the same time, it's like Austin Wells should have enough situational awareness to know infield's in. I'm not just going to start sprinting as soon as there's contact.
If he's told to run on contact, then he's going to run on contact.
Well, then, then I guess that is.
Tell you. But that's the thing. Like, you could have the fastest guy. Jason Dominguez could be on third running on contact in that play, and he's dead by 3 feet.
Usain Bolt's going to be out by a couple steps in that situation.
Yeah.
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. Well, and it's not a trick question, right? It's because they don't play baseball. And against the White Sox, it does not matter that they make out in extra innings on a contact play, because it's the White Sox, and they're a historically bad team, and they just got them the next inning. Against competent teams or good teams, Detroit, Boston, Toronto, Houston, you make those mistakes, you're dead. Against great teams, you're laughed out of the building, like we saw last year in the World Series. Yeah. So the Yankees don't do anything, any of the little things, or any of the just basic baseball things correctly. Yeah, they can hit home runs. Yeah, they can throw the baseball. Their pitchers can throw hard. They've got nasty stuff. Look at his spin rate. Look at it. Look at this sprint speed on this guy. Whoop-de-doo. They don't make any of the right decisions mentally or physically when it matters. And so against decent competition, you can't win games that way. And that's why they have a 269 winning percentage against good teams, and probably an 800 win percentage against all the garbage teams.
And let's also not completely sweep under the rug the fact that the contact play was put on by coaching. That is the other big
and
problem.
Not taken off when they saw the infield come in.
Maybe it was put on when they saw the infield in, who knows? But when you have Aaron Boone, that's going to, and Neil talks about this in our group chat quite a bit. If you have a guy that has to make multiple decisions because of the way that the bullpen is, you don't have starters going deep into the games, and now the game in some respects is in the hands of your manager, because he's got to pull the right moves. You also have to have, you have to have good performances from multiple guys coming out of the pen at that point. But when you have your manager, Aaron Boone, who has to make decisions in the game that are going to, in some capacity, affect the outcome of the game, it's a problem. Because I promise you, over the next, in the playoffs, we're going to get outmanaged because he's not a good manager. And there are many, all the playoff teams probably are going to have management that, in my eyes, is superior to what the Yankees have right now, because I don't think he's a good in-game manager. I think he's proved that multiple times. So that's the other thing that's going against you. You have a guy making the decisions at the top of the, whether he's making the decisions or not. If you believe that, there are some in-game things like running on contact with the infield in, like field plays, stuff like that I have no confidence in him at this point. So yes, we wipe the floor with the White Sox, with the Nationals. That's great. The Twins, they should absolutely do that. This is what they have to do. They have to do that, because if you're not gonna wipe the floor with those teams, then you're going to be in a hole facing these good teams. And right now they're what, 2.5 games back. I don't see if Toronto won or lost last night, but they're within a shot of the division.
Sure.
They're comfortably in a wild card spot right now, but there's a 2-week stretch looming ahead of them that is massive. 3 games. Okay. So
three games back, but Toronto's 5-5 in their last 10.
Yep.
The Yankees are 3 back of them. They've got a 3-game series coming up. So if they don't lose any ground, they could sweep them in time at that point. And Boston is a half game back of the Yankees in the wild card. And then just behind Boston, You've got Seattle, and then Texas is 2.5 back of Seattle. I don't think Texas at this point. I think the wild card spots are pretty much, well, I guess Texas could, and Kansas City are still hanging around, but
Kansas,
I think it's mostly
you
wild
could go
card.
to Cleveland, Kansas City, and Texas all within 4 games. I think that's still with what the Tigers did last year. Like we've seen crazier things happen.
Like I'm not naive to expect the Yankees to suddenly go 10-2 in these next 12 games against these good teams.
Yeah.
But if they go obviously 8 and if they go 7-5, okay, 7-5, which not even means you win all the series. Like you could lose a series in there. You go 7-5, but that's respectable baseball against good teams, and then you take care of the bad teams as you have been doing. You're going to put yourself in a position to either win the division or be in the first wild card spot.
Yeah. No,
but you can't go 4-8 in these next 12 games, because it's like,
well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. They could do that and still, very comfortably making the playoffs because of
they'll make the playoffs.
But how they're ending the season with the teams in front of them.
Matter.
It kind of doesn't matter. They could have a complete dog shit. It's more for us as fans to look at this team and say, can you please show some life against a good team right now, so that when you're going into the playoffs against good teams, it's not the first time you've seen it in a while. Right. Like, show me that you can execute. Show me that you can. It's September. Show me that you can execute.
So the old cliche in football, where it's like, if you play your division opponent 2 times in a row, or two times in the season, and then you end up playing them in the playoffs, if you've won the first 2, like there's almost kind of an advantage in that third game for the team, because you've shown everything to win 2 games, and that other team sort of has that knowledge to go into the playoffs and sort of use that against you. I remember Jets and Patriots had that situation when the Jets
What are we talking about? Are you talking about the Jets and the Patriots?
My point is, this is not like where the Yankees could go into a playoff series against Boston if they've just played horrendously against Boston all year. That's not going to be like, oh, no, now we've got them on the ropes. Like, no, you have no confidence against this team. The Red Sox are going to have all the confidence in the world against you. Toronto's also beat you pretty handedly all season. You've got one more series against each of those teams. You, at a bare minimum, need to win the Red Sox and the Toronto series. Bare minimum.
If you look at the numbers against the Red Sox, specifically Bayo and Crochet, they are dominant against the New York Yankees. They have to get past those 2 guys. Especially, it's going to be a problem in the playoffs if they have to play the Red Sox in a wild card game, in a shorter series. That's going to even be a bigger issue. But
a wild card, it would be 3 at either home if they have the seeding, or they'd be 3 at Boston.
Yeah, well, either way, those 2 guys are still going to throw at the top, whether they're playing at Yankee Stadium or Fenway, and the Yankees have to figure out how to, win without hitting home runs.
Well,
because Crochet is going to go after you, but he'll go after you with the bases loaded, or with the bases empty, and late in the game, and he's going to be a little bit more aggressive in that regard. But you're not going to get the middle of the plate in the first six innings.
At Fenway, though, the Red Sox average something stupid like 7 runs a game at home. Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah. No, I definitely don't want to play them at Fenway. But again, still have to go up against those guys. Let's talk about Schlitler, because Schlitler is a really interesting guy at this point in the season. Listening to his last start and with Girardi and Rucco, who I like in the booth, by the way. Girardi and Rucco have like a fun little. They have a playful banter. Girardi was giving Rucco shit for trying to jinx the team a couple times. Like, it was just I think they have a very loose, playful thing going on, which I like. And I mean, I know I got frustrated with Girardi at times when he's a manager. You're always going to get frustrated with any manager that's there, but I really do like him in the booth, and I have so much, after seeing what Boone is now, I have so much more of an appreciation for him. You don't
know what you got till it's gone.
Yeah, that is so true. But Schlitler, like first and foremost, his velocity. You talk about him coming up and in the minor leagues, 91 to 93. That's what this guy was. Which, he's what, 6'8". He's
6'6". He's 6'6".
6'6"? I thought he was
listed at 6'6".
Okay, 6'6", 6'8".
That's still very tall.
Very tall. And so that, when he's delivering, he's got a little bit, his mechanics are pretty sound. He was given Girardi was given like Tyler Glasnow comparisons with the way that his mechanics were, the way he kind of fell off the mound and presence wise, which I thought was interesting. But the fact that he's able to ramp up 6 to 7 to 8 sometimes miles per hour more than he has in the minor leagues and do it consistently is crazy and completely changes his prospect, the look of him as a prospect moving forward.
It's like he was not a highly touted prospect. All of a sudden, he kind of got thrust up into the majors due to injuries, and then he's throwing 99,
From
100 miles
AA.
an hour. He's throwing 100 miles an hour. They're talking about, oh, this is the fastest pitch any Yankee has thrown all year, and you're like, why is this the first time I'm hearing about this guy?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
usually, if you've got someone throwing 100 miles an hour, you're at the very least going to hear about them.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And
Obviously,
obviously,
he had a 4 point. I think I looked. It was a 4.3 minor league career ERA, and now he's pitching to a 2.6 in the major leagues. There was a really great stat that over his last 3 starts, he's allowed just 1 run while striking out 24 batters. I think it's like 18 and 2/3 innings.
when you see his makeup too, and Girardi was talking about this, the fact that he came up as a guy that throws 91 to 93. At that point, you have to be a strike thrower. You have to be able to locate your pitches. And I love that because if this guy is all of a sudden now, turn on the turbo gear, or like, activated his ligament in his arm to be able to throw 99, 100 miles per hour and still has the ability to throw strikes, that guy's a problem. That guy's a problem for everybody on the other side. So
how do you just start throwing 7 miles an hour more?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's like you go 95 to 98. Okay, like I can buy like 93 to 100.
I don't know. There's a lot of mechanical things that are happening with young
just
kids.
The major league food's better.
In high school,
hotels are nicer. Just
into college, like you're seeing a lot of these like mechanical changes where they're able to really rotate differently to get through and throw faster. That's why you're also seeing a lot more Tommy John surgeries. But when you look at his mechanics look good. I mean, they look. He's not anybody that stands out as someone whose elbow is going to explode or it looks like he's going to have big problems. The inverted W. No,
yeah.
He's got.
Who was the guy? Strasburg was like the first, like the
Strasburg
child.
Pryor was the first one.
Yeah,
that really was one of the big ones. Pryor, then Strasburg. There's a few guys that it just looks like their elbows are going to explode. But even now they've gotten away from that, and there's just so much rotation or
you're supposed to keep your
pronation, prolification.
That's not it. Isn't it that you're supposed to keep your elbow above your shoulder?
That's one of them. You look at Mariano Rivera and Greg Maddux, those guys have absolutely perfect mechanics.
Yeah, but Greg Maddux was throwing 88 miles an hour. Like this guy's throwing 98
look at
miles
him,
an hour.
Exactly. Well, everybody now, that's the thing. He was throwing 91 to 93, and now he's throwing 98 miles per hour, able to locate. That's just, he's a completely different guy at this point. Like that is not what any prospect ranking or write-up is talking about. And now you see this guy in the major league level. And the thing that I love about him the most is his demeanor. He looks like he gets pissed off if there was one at bat where it was a full count. I forget who he was going up against, but there was a fastball up and out of the zone, and it was a little probably higher than he wanted. He got a strike 3 swinging, but you could tell that he was pissed off because he didn't locate the ball in the right way. And I love that. Like the fact that he's there with an attitude and just he's got a presence out there, and it doesn't seem like much bothers him. So I'm really liking what I see with him. And if this is a guy that can do this consistently now, like with this, he's going to get better. And they found something with him for sure.
He has completed at least 6 starts in his last 3, at least 6 innings in his last 3 starts on the season. In 9 starts, 48 and a third innings pitched, 2.16 ERA. I think I said 2.61 ERA earlier. So 2.16 ERA, 54 strikeouts, and 48 and a third innings pitched. You've also got a little bit of the benefit that you saw with Luis Gil last year, where the league hasn't seen him fully yet, and so he can get by also on just being new. And obviously his stuff plays, and every team he's facing now has not seen him before. Some teams will start to see him again, but he still is not a lot of footage on him, not a lot of scouting reports on him yet. Yeah, assuming he continues to pitch well, he has to be in the playoff rotation behind Fried and Rodon. There's no questions asked.
100%. And the huge difference with him and Heel is the ability to throw strikes when you want to throw strikes. If Heel
already
had
said 16% walk rate so far this year for Luis Heel, which is like unplayable.
Well, I mean, that's what he always has been. Really, that's what he always has been.
He was 12% last year, and that was high.
I'm saying the walks have always been a problem. The walks have always been a problem. His ability to locate even his fastball has always been his his issue, and that's a huge difference when you see that you're seeing the dynamic fastball out of both of these guys. But yeah, Schlitler being able to locate is better. Heel had a really, really good slider last night that looked really tight, and he looked like he was able to locate it much better. Again, you need repeatable mechanics from him. You need repeatable pitches that he can execute from each start to start, and he just, we'll see what happens. I have a feeling a lot of his really early success was exactly what you just said. Guys hadn't seen him before. He was effectively wild, and now the book is out on him, and you have good teams being patient against him, and he's going to run his pitch count up, and they'll just wait for him to make a mistake over the plate.
Unless the Yankees, well, no, even if the Yankees, I think, win their division, they would probably be the 3rd seed, which means they would be playing in the first round of the playoffs, which is a 3-game series. So they probably only need 3 starters for the first series. Yeah. And obviously Fried and Rodon are locks, but it has to be Schlitler at this point. And then see who pitches better down the stretch, Will Warren or Luis Heel, whoever you feel better about.
Yeah. Luis Heel is at least gives you something. Warren against
he gives you more upside for sure, but
Warren against good teams, man, he's one inning away from a 7 spot. That's the problem with him.
Yeah.
Well, I think he can compete, but the problem is that he puts up those big innings, and he obviously does it with infrequency in a start, but frequency with every single start. It seems like there's a blow up inning for him, and against a good team, they're just going to wait him out until that inning happens. So yeah, I don't have confidence with him at all.
No, you're picking your poison at that point. So we were talking about, well, you wanted to touch on some positives, which we can do that too. Giancarlo Stanton has been quite a positive.
Yeah.
He's been unbelievable. He's on one of his heaters. He's got a OPS over 1,300 basically in his last, I think it was like last, I think I pulled it for the month of August. It was like over 1,300 OPS in the month of August, slugging over 900. Problem is, Judge is still DHing, so Stanton can't DH, and Stanton can't play the field every day.
Right.
And it's a real problem because when both of those guys are in the lineup, it's a lot better than when only one of those guys is in the lineup.
Yeah, I would say for sure. And Judge, maybe
starting to look a little bit better.
Definitely just tied Yogi for all-time home runs in Yankees history. He does look better. Yesterday was a triple away from the cycle. Just was again, like take everything with a grain of salt because you're playing the Chicago White Sox, who are a terrible team. They have some decent young talent with some decent young arms, but again, it's nothing we're going to see. The next couple of weeks will be there. That said, you're right. Like at one point, we need to get Judge out into the outfield. And again, like going back to the craziness of this team is like,
well, if you ask Boone,
yeah, asking Boone, you get one answer, then you ask Judge. You're like, I don't know why Boone's talking. I know this is old news at this point, but you just have these internal conflicts, so you don't even know what's going on. But
that's wild. Like let's talk about that for a second. Yes, it's old news. I think that happened around the Red Sox series, so it's like over a week old. Boone says basically, I'm paraphrasing, but Judge isn't going to play the field again this year. Doesn't look good. Yeah. And then later that day, Judge is asked, he's like, why is Boone saying that? I'm feeling great. He hasn't seen me throw.
He hasn't seen me
first
throw.
of all, what is Boone doing at 2:00 in the afternoon that he can't go out and watch Aaron Judge throw some long tosses? Like what else is he doing? Yeah. Is my first question. But second of all, how are those two quotes and two opinions so wildly different? Are they talking to each other? Is the medical staff informing Boone that they don't think Judge is going to be able to play? And if so, have they not informed Judge that they don't think he's going to be able to play the field? Like, I just don't understand how this is so inaccurate.
I have no idea. But it makes a lot of sense, given
makes sense for
what happens here. Yeah. But yeah, no, you need to get those guys both in the lineup, and Stanton at DH obviously gets him in there every single day, and Judge, in the outfield. But we'll see. We'll see who's right, I guess. We'll see if Judge is just like the eternal optimist and saying, like, as the player saying, yeah, I can go out there and throw, but maybe the medical staff is not going to let him do this. Maybe the Yankees organization is not going to let him go into the field. I don't know. I don't know how that ends up. It's not like you're hiding things from the other team, like you're gonna, jockeying for position here. It's not a football game. There's not, once a week. So I don't know how that's gonna to play out. But you do need them both in there. And the other side of that is with Stanton on this heater, he's mashing the ball. So him not in the lineup, and look, when Stanton's hot like this, he doesn't just hit home runs. He hits the ball he just piss missiles all over the field. And so he's got the ability to make contact and move runners. And like, when he's on, like he's a full range hitter, pole to pole. Like this guy can do anything at that point. And he hits the ball obviously harder than anybody. But you have to get them on the field. You absolutely do. Jason Dominguez, unfortunately, is the one that's really taking a backseat from playing time because Grisham just keeps hitting home runs.
Yeah. But if you're gonna they're obviously keeping Judge out of the field for fear of re-injuring his elbow. Like, I get it, but what's the date? Like, is there I'd be curious, is there a drop dead date where, okay, September 15th is the date that we're gonna make this call? Like, it's been a month plus at this
Here's
point.
what we're gonna do. We're gonna see how these next 2 weeks go. We're gonna see how badly we need to beat these shitty teams at the end of the month.
This is when you need both of them in the lineup against these. I don't care if he's both in the lineup against Minnesota. I need both in the lineup against Boston and Houston.
Yeah, but you're missing the point here. The last 2 weeks of the season is where they can get into the tournament. You know what I'm saying?
They pump themselves up.
Yeah. They don't. If they go, how many games is it? 12. It's a 12-game stretch. They could go 4-8, and then okay, now we got to buckle down. We got to get Judge in there a couple times. We got to get serious against the White Sox again, against the Orioles and the Twins, and get him in there so that they're ready for the playoffs a week ahead. Like, it's just it's part of the rhetoric that like is just is coming. Unfortunately, it's just one of those things that the Yankees organization has gotten really good at gaslighting their entire fan base with things that we all know are either true or not true, just depending on which side of the fence you're on, and which topic they're talking about. But yeah, it has to happen. Like, we got to see him out there at some point.
Well, because if it doesn't happen and you're relegated to Stanton playing 2 out of 3 days in October, like that's not a serious baseball team in October.
Although I do have a lot of confidence that Stanton will go out there and do his goddamn best and probably hold it down, because he's just a gamer. And
he'll just stuff Boone in a locker and be like, no, it's the playoffs. You're playing me.
Yeah, I do. I trust Stanton in the outfield, push come to shove, to be honest. At the end of the day, the range is never going to be there, but I don't think he's going to make any massive issues.
He'll make up for it by having a 1300 OPS.
Yeah. John saying that if they go 6-6, I'll be happy. Like, again, here's the thing. Are you? How does
it look though?
Like, how does it make you happy though? Like, are you happy because they're getting out of that unscathed and they're in a very good position to get into the playoffs, possibly win the division because of the opponents that they have out of there? Or are you happy because they held their own in 500 against really good teams? Because to me, I want them to shut us all up. I want them to anybody who's watching this team and has doubts, or talking about this team that has doubts, I want them to say, shut the fuck up and play. And they're going to play good baseball and show that they have the talent. That's what I want to see. I want to see this team be the team that they can be against these good teams. I don't want them to just limp through and then make it into the playoffs. I want confidence going into it.
It's an interesting question. Let me first tell you some more about Game Time. There are 2 huge home series coming up, as we've been talking about. And if you're attending, you should use Game Time for tickets. I've used Game Time several times and I love it. I've used it for baseball games. I've also used it for theater tickets, but they have great tickets for all sporting events, concerts, and more. The last minute deals feature is especially cool because you can snag great tickets for affordable prices by just waiting. You can save up to 60% doing this. I also love the all-in pricing feature because there's nothing worse than being hit with surprise fees at checkout. Game Time tells you what the total price is going to be up front, and I really appreciate that. Last but not least, the lowest price guarantee means If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code Bronx for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code BRONX. That spells Bronx for $20 off. Thank you, Game Time. So, I forget who someone commented saying 6-6 that they would be happy.
Yeah. John,
if it's 6-6 but they're still booting the ball around and playing sloppy baseball and losing extra inning games and looking like just general garbage, it just so happens they go 6-6 because sometimes they hit some home runs against mediocre starting pitching and stuff, then no, that's not going to be happy. If they play sound baseball against good teams and you kind of lose some games because you're in it close and you win some games because you're in it close, I can see a world where they come out of it 6-6, play good baseball during that stretch. Just so happens you're also playing good teams, and then you clean up on the shit teams again at the end of the season. You could feel okay going into October. I can see a world where that happens.
Okay. I mean,
but if it's 6-6 by just kind of getting lucky, then F off.
Well, that's the thing. They're not going to get lucky against the teams that are in the next 2 weeks. So these 12 games, if you're getting lucky and the ball is just falling, that means you're in a position to be succeeding, or at least taking advantage of that, which I just don't see them getting lucky and playing shitty baseball and then falling into some wins against these teams. Those aren't these teams, unless you're fighting these teams. I know some of them have been struggling a bit, but they're on their heels and not playing well. And in that case, maybe. Real quick, can we take a back seat for a second? I want to say something that's happened over the last 2 weeks that I totally forgot about. As far as life situations. Okay. Just to get personal. We like to get personal sometimes on the show. We got a dog, another dog. Okay. We got another puppy. Not another puppy. We got another dog, which is a puppy. We got a Dalmatian puppy last weekend, and adorable. Her name is Bobby Jean. It's a Springsteen song, if you know it. Bobby Jean was the song was written about Stevie Van Zandt when he left the band. It's a beautiful song about best friend leaving the band. So we call her Bobby. And I forgot that puppies don't sleep. Puppies shit and piss everywhere. Puppies are just never ending energy. And I'm going to go out on a statement here. And I only have one child, as you know, but he put us through the ringer a little bit early days. I think having a dog is harder. I think having a puppy is more difficult, because you cannot take your eye off this thing, because it will chew your couch, piss on your rug, shit on your anything. It will eat things that it's not supposed to. And they don't stop. They just don't stop for a long time. They cry in the middle of the night like a dog does. You have to literally go outside so they go to the bathroom. It's crazy. And yes, Julio saying Dalmatians are energetic. They are, but all puppies are energetic. I don't think we've gotten to the Dalmatian energy part yet, because I think the energy is just going to continue.
Phase.
Yeah. At this point, which I'm good. We have a big yard to run around. The dog's going to get plenty of exercise, but as a puppy, you got to watch it. And she's a breakout artist too. It's hard to keep her contained. She just charges through things. But yeah, I think having a puppy is a different animal. It really is. And I forgot about this.
All of our women listeners are just motherfucking you right now. Because it's not easier for them. So how old's Maddie at this point?
Maddie's 10.
Wow.
It's a new life for Maddie there. Maddie's why are you here? Why are you biting me? Your teeth are freaking sharp, because they are. And Maddie's definitely putting her in a place outside a bit, body slamming her, giving her a couple hooks. So she's definitely teaching some lessons, but you could tell she's side eyeing too. Why did you do this? Why did you do this to me?
The funny thing is, who was I talking to about this semi recently? I'm like, yeah, there is a lot more similarities. It's not just a joke between having a puppy and having a baby. It's just the stakes are much lower with a dog.
That's true.
It's just okay, something. You don't want anything bad to happen to a puppy, but it's a puppy. If something bad happens to your kid, it's a little bit higher stakes. But yeah, a lot of those similarities. But yeah. For women, probably not so much.
It's the sleeping thing that I forgot. I forgot that they need to get, you got to wake up. They're crying in the middle of the night, and you literally have to go and do it. And then they cry when they get back into the crate because they want to be out and play. It's
Bobby Jean's going to be potty trained a hell of a lot quicker than Kemp was.
Well, Kemp wore a diaper.
Put a
Can't wear
diaper on your dog.
No, the diaper will be ripped off with the shit in it and then strewn around the house, chasing her.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, that's been a distraction for the last couple, and will be interesting, but pretty adorable. And I can't say I've always wanted a Dalmatian, I think, and then there was a breeder close to us we saw, and they're just going with it. So we'll see.
Yeah, Dalmatians are kind of like a rare dog. You don't see them all the time,
which is weird because you see them. I don't know. They're like on TV, and like you think of the fire engine.
The movies made it super popular.
But yeah, you don't see them a lot.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on the new puppy.
Thanks.
I had no life updates other than
2 weeks
we were playing an away game for 2 weeks.
That's right. That's a tough one to do that with.
I was working the first half of it pretty much, but yeah, it was. We were away at Cape Cod for 2 weeks, and the kids have been out of daycare for a full month because we pulled them out of daycare so it's been a while, and I think they've just lost all grip with reality. And by like day 10 of vacation, up was down was up.
Yeah. Speaking of up is down and down is up, Jazz Chisholm having what is a fantastic second half. He's been good, and Kemp's wearing number 13 because of Jazz Chisholm, like it or not.
I thought the home run derby turned him off to it.
Yeah, for then he forgot about it the next day. You know, it's a fleeting memory.
To be young again.
But he's sticking with 13, and love seeing Jazz out there doing his thing. But no, he has been good, and you know, when they actually let this team run the bases, the team looks just like a different type of animal. The team has the ability. The Yankees have the ability, if they wanted to be an aggressive base running team. They have the speed. They have guys who can swipe a bag like pretty well. And when he's out there running around, hitting the ball, it just, I don't know, to me, it makes the team that much more dangerous and gives the opponent something to think about. And they need him in this final stretch here to continue his hot streak.
He's having the second best offensive season of his career. I think it was 2022 with Miami. He did have a bit better of an offensive season, but he's on track to be 30-30. I think he's a couple home runs and a couple stolen bases away. 30-30 is always impressive. What do you think about the comments he made a couple days ago? He said, "We want to win the division. We don't just want to get to a wild card spot. Right now, it's just like we're going to go out there and win that, and then we're going to go and win the World Series."
I mean, look, the guy's confident. He always has been. He always talks a lot of shit. He always talks like, you know, the Derby, it doesn't matter. Are you guys worried about yourselves? No, we're not. We're going to go out there. We have confidence. He's a confident guy. He talks with confidence. I expect nothing less in the comments. So I don't know. That's what you're going to get from him.
No,
there's an expectation here, knowing what you're going to get from a guy like Jazz. The mic's in front of him.
I can't take it seriously until they play better baseball. It's like he says this after they mop the floor with Washington. It's like, cool, dude.
I know. And I think that when everybody hears a player say something like that too, they just immediately go back to and think about Boone saying it, and Boone, you know, being the guy that is giving them all of these words in the back, and just, you know, being able to speak this false confidence when you beat a bad team. But from the player's perspective, I mean, yes, of course, you're chasing the Blue Jays right now for the division. You want to win the division, no doubt about it. So, I mean, I want him saying these things. He's backing it up. It's not like he's not backing it up. He is.
He's having a good season. They're not having a good season against actual competition, and that's the thing that needs to be backed up. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So I know that from my perspective too, like a lot of these guys, and some of them you see this from, like McMahon the other day talked about how he's been dog shit. He's like, I've been terrible. I've been a bad team. I've been a bad player. I need something to happen. You know, he ended up hitting a home run, got out of his slump a little bit. And you talk about that thing, and I think it was Girardi or one of the guys was talking about this on the broadcast. Like, you kill the story right there. Like, nobody talks about you anymore because you say that thing. As you say that thing, you're like, hand up, I've been horrible, which he has, by the way. We have another season of him. I know he's been a good glove, but he's approaching, like, he's flirting with the Anthony Vulpi, the new Mendoza line of under 700 OPS. He's flirting with that. And when you have a guy that's in the 600s of an OPS, it's a bad offensive baseball player.
That's what he was in Colorado, though. Like, so it's not.
But you're looking at a guy that you know is and has been on as bad of an offensive stretch. You just haven't seen it as much. So why isn't he getting all of the noise? Austin Wells, same thing. As of late, Austin Wells has been much better. He's been hitting the ball. You're seeing
Well,
the
don't you know
Austin
that
Wells
among
you want
catchers,
to.
he's actually pretty good?
Well, that's fine. We're looking at among a subset of competition.
And
I
he'll
love
tell
that.
you, that among
Yes, he
catchers,
will.
I'm actually pretty good.
Yeah, and that bothers me because that's coming from Boone and the Nerds.
Yep.
But the but they're not getting the same heat that Volpe gets. They're not getting the same heat that Volpe gets.
Well, kind of maybe you touched on it where McMahon hand up, just be like, I've been bad. I need to be better. No one is also telling you, trying to lie to your face and gaslight you that like, no, actually he's been really good, which is what the Yankees seemingly continue to do with Anthony Volpe, because he had one of the worst 2-week stretches I've seen out of any baseball player in my 30 years of watching baseball, which is saying something.
It's also saying something that's the worst stretch for him because he's had some terrible stretches.
His batting average dipped to about 200. His OPS fell over 30 points to 670 in this stretch. And then Boone, he did sit. He sat the last game against Boston and the first game against Washington. Boone poo-pooed it, basically like, oh, nothing to see here. But he sat. And then Boone has these comments. First of all, he's a more productive offensive player than he gets credit for. We just hammer the struggles because on some level, there were some people that anointed him and expected so much. Even though he hasn't come close to realizing what we expect and what he expects offensively, and acknowledging a few weeks this year where he struggled even defensively, he's still a frontline defensive player at a premium position that is offensively somewhat productive. Now, obviously, he's had a 10-day stretch where he's gone from over a 700 OPS for 4 months into the year to below. We want to send that guy down? What planet does this guy get sent down? That's a shortstop. I don't know that planet. I think we'll get him through this. I don't think he should be sent down. I think mentally and emotionally, he's so much better equipped to handle this than people might imagine. I don't think he's going to get bogged down by this. I've never seen that out of him. I've never felt that way where this guy needs a break, which could pop up with a player that's maybe been a good player, who knows, needs a timeout. I don't feel that way.
But that's the thing. He's a young player. He hasn't really like been a good player. He's not like a veteran guy who comes out and says, doesn't act like he needs the day off. He just needs to work through it. He's a young guy that has a young voice and doesn't know. He's not going to say I need a day off, Skip. Like I need that day off. Like you're the manager. You need to manage him and manage what you're seeing in front of you. And be able to know that this guy is overmatched. He's in a horrible stretch and maybe some time off. And it took to the end of August for them to give him a partial little break. I mean, he came into the game, for defensive purposes, and it's not like he got even a full blow. Like he came back, and I know, we're starting to see, he comes back with this handful of hot streaks, and you've been talking about this for years now, where I've been like, we need him to smooth out these hot streaks and cold streaks and be somewhere in the middle, and for whatever reason, he just hasn't been able to do it. He still can't throw the baseball. Like, him throwing the baseball has been a real issue. I mean, he's even some errors that should be errors that are base hits. Like there was one the other day of him charging the ball. Like it's a ball that you need to make, a play that you need to make. He throws a ball that's off the bag. Rice has to come off the bag. Runner is safe. Like little shit like that is going to come up in the playoffs time and time again. It's going to burn you.
Why do you think they're so stubborn about telling us that Anthony Volpe is good when he so clearly has not been good?
I don't know. There's no other one. There are no options. I know Caballero could go out there and play. You could get.
They're sticking him in the outfield because they want to get him in the lineup.
Yeah, he's But there are guys that can play at this point. There are guys that are new to the team that can play because they had to go out and get people who could play shortstop in case of the fact that they did need to sit him for an extended period of time. Worst case scenario, but in the organization, like he's the guy. There's no one.
But that doesn't tell the whole story. So what? He's the guy. There's no other options. That doesn't change the fact that he's been bad, and they're telling us he hasn't been bad.
Well, they don't like to admit that they're wrong. They don't.
It's so obvious at this point. We're almost 3 full seasons into this now. It's like he's approaching 2,000 plate appearances, I think. Like, this is not a small sample size.
your eyes are lying to you. He's a really good baseball player.
Really good
What
baseball
the
player.
hell's wrong
And they
with you?
keep comparing like, oh, he's especially for a shortstop, 700 OPS for a shortstop. He ranks like 22nd out of 25 qualified shortstops in Major League Baseball for offensive production. It's not like he's, even though grand scheme of things, maybe not great, he's top 10 for shortstop. No, he's bottom of the league for everything, whether you slice it and dice it by just plate appearances, by games played, by shortstop, by infielders. He's at the bottom.
Here's the beautiful thing about being a New York Yankee. If they do squeak, they're gonna get into the playoffs. They're gonna be there. Anthony Vulpi, in some regards, I have not looked at his. Probably get this thrown back in my face. I have not looked at his late and close numbers, his clutch numbers recently because
there's no way they're good this year. I know they were decent the last couple of years, but there's no way they can be good this year. I'm gonna look it up.
But if he has the ability to go out there in the playoffs and play well, nobody's gonna give a shit. Nobody's
okay, sure. If they can get passed around and he has a Stanton-esque postseason run.
Well, he's going to go out there and he's going to play every single day. He's going to be the shortstop every single day. So he's going to have the ability to wipe the slate completely clean. He will have that chance. If they're in the playoffs, he will have that chance. There's no way he's not playing every single day.
All right.
You got those numbers?
Runners in scoring position this year. He is hitting in 168 plate appearances. You want to guess his batting average?
215.
196.
Okay.
OPS 626. For
less than
87 OPS plus.
Oof. Okay.
Men on base hitting 214 with a 689 OPS. So
I mean, it's going to be look. At the end of the day,
that's what I'm saying.
My point is that
there's no way it's good.
None of these offensive numbers in his regular season are going to be good. Like it's probably very difficult to find a category where he's been that bad.
He really comes into his own with 2 outs and runners in scoring position where he's hitting 130.
All right. Well, but the playoffs? But the playoffs are different. Okay, he really locks in at that point, and he's able to put bat to ball. I don't know, but I'm saying that yes, if he does perform in the playoffs, nobody gives a shit about the regular season. That's my point, which is true.
I think he would almost push that theory to the test though, because this is a really bad regular season.
Again, we'll see. If he's not been a good baseball player, so the probability of him turning it on at the highest point of the season against the toughest competition in the highest pressure situation is low, but. Again, if he's able to do it.
Well, the errors are also like kind of a new thing to the equation, which we didn't have to deal with the last 2 years. And now
those make him unplayable at that point.
Right. But also for the playoffs, where if he's going to throw a ball in the dirt, that's going to lead to a run, or he's going to back up on a baseball that leads to a guy being safe at second base. Like you just can't have that. Plus the terrible offense.
Yeah, no, the guy needs to be able to throw the ball like that. That's what noticeably him this year. Just the throwing of the ball has been so bad. Everything in the dirt or off the target.
Little yippy, little
I don't know what. Yeah, because even when he has time, he still airmails it. He's just he doesn't. He's when you lose confidence throwing the ball, that's a problem. Especially
his
when
arm's not great to begin with.
Well, that was always the knock for him. But we saw the first 2 years that
accurate throws,
the ability to get to the ball, like it played fine, and the arm strength really was a non-issue. But when you're not throwing, when you're seeing things like this, where you're bouncing the ball and airmailing it, like the arm now all of a sudden becomes back in focus as an issue with part of your tools.
One other thing, just random thought I had. Ben Rice is actually a better defensive catcher than I thought he was going to be. Not saying he's a great defensive catcher, but like it's not a complete disaster back there.
No, he's not. He's been. I mean, he came up as a catcher.
I think he's a better catcher than he is first baseman. I like at first base, he looks more out of position than he does at catcher.
That does make sense considering he's been a catcher for the majority of his career.
First base is infinitely easier of a position to play.
Unless you've been a catcher your whole life, and that's what you know.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why a lot of catchers go to first base. There's just a familiar. There's a transition there that's smaller or easier to make than other positions. But yeah, again, what does that look like for him into even next year when you're looking at, not
Who
to get too
knows?
far ahead here, but Bellinger obviously is a guy that I would love them to see. I would love them to re-sign Bellinger. I think Bellinger is a very good baseball player.
He's having a really good
He
season.
has been much better than I was expecting, and in a lot of different ways.
You think
his
better than Verdugo?
His 2-out approach is better than I thought. Like, he's much better bat to ball than I realized. He's a very good defender. He can play all over the place. He's a real asset to.
He's gonna get paid though.
Team. He's gonna get paid.
I
don't give a shit. This is the New York Yankees. Pay the man. Like, just pay the man to play.
Obviously, but they've got a lot of money tied up. They've got. We were joking about this yesterday in our text chain. They're players they're paying who aren't even on the roster right now. LeMahieu, Stroman, Rizzo, and Hicks. Okay, they're paying like,
sounds like a problem for someone who has a ton of money, and I don't give a shit at the end of the day. Like, I really don't. I could care less what they're paying people off the field. Tell me what you're doing for me and this team right now. That was your problem. That was your problem,
decision,
Hal. Your problem was Cashman, Hal. At the end of the day, it's Hal. But at the end of the day, you're paying those guys that are on this team. I don't care. That doesn't matter to me. That doesn't affect me in any way. It shouldn't at all. You put the best players on the field. Bellinger loves being a Yankee, clearly wants to be at Old Timers Day to see his dad every time. Like, he loves that dynamic. The guy seamlessly could play first base and outfield. Like, there's nothing lost defensively with that guy. He's just a very good baseball player. I know he's been healthy, which is a big deal for him. But he's the type of guy, when you look at the roster construction and you're like, well, the Yankees have a bunch of guys that are good, but aren't great in one position. They're just like, everybody's kind of out of position. Bellinger, you can put at first or anywhere in the outfield that he's fine. Like, he's in position because he can play those positions well. And that gives you the ability going into next year without Goldschmidt, but the ability to have, Rice play some at first with him, with Bellinger in the outfield. Rice can play a little bit of catcher. Like, you just have a little bit more mixing and matching because Rice is obviously on this team and could be the first baseman of the future. If that's the case, and Bellinger's just an outfielder, then fine too, but sign Bellinger.
Well, it makes you wonder, like, with Rice playing a decent catcher, like, what the hell were they doing JC Escara all first half of the season? Like, what was that about?
I don't know. They wanted to obviously get Rice more. They had that platoon with Goldschmidt and Rice, lefty righty, and they wanted to see him over there. And I think that a lot of it was like, Goldschmidt's not going to play every day.
But then he did play every day because he got off to a hot start.
Yeah. But again, this is they need those righty lefty splits, and I don't know. I think in the early days when you're trying to figure something out, they are obviously wrong about Escara and thought he was going to translate into the major leagues hitting wise, but he wasn't and isn't and won't. And the Baltimore Orioles were probably right.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I see we had it's Labor Day. It's Labor Day, right? It's Labor Day morning. So not exactly a primo streaming time. So for everyone who joined the live broadcast on YouTube, thank you very much. And for everyone listening on Apple or Spotify or wherever, thank you very much for tuning in as well. Sorry for the couple week gap. We'll be in it with you guys for the rest of the season and for however long the Yankees play in the playoffs this year. We'll talk to you again next Monday.